All right, welcome back to Patient Win Insider. I'm Nick Moen, and today I'm joined by Dr. Alex Simide, founder of Simide Dental in Davie, Florida. Dr. Simide has built a reputation for relationship-driven dentistry, strong mentorship, and a practice culture built on trust, consistency, and human connection. Today we're diving into what's working, what's broken, and where the future of dentistry is headed. So thanks for coming on, Alex.
Nick, I'm flattered. Such lovely words.
Well, let's get into it. In past conversations with you, you've talked about how meaningful mentorship is and how it's harder to find today. How did you find early guidance in your career? And then what does your kind of mentorship model look like that you use with your team?
That's a great question. First of all, I want to say congrats on the podcast and all the success that you guys are having. I know it's really blowing up, so that's good for you, man. That's really cool to see.
Thanks, Alex. I'm having a
Obviously, due to all the amazing guests that you have, right?
blast. Yeah, well, you're one of them.
So about mentorship, yeah, I feel like in all careers, right? I was going to say professional careers, but all careers, having someone that will kind of take you under their wing and show you the ropes and so the areas where you can succeed and potential pitfalls, and it's so important to ultimately having a long, successful, rewarding career, right?
Yeah.
For me, that process started very early. When I first went into college, I was an econ and finance major. I was convinced I wanted to be a stockbroker, and the more I learned about it, the more I realized that was not really the life for me. And it led me to my quarter life crisis. What do I do? How am I supposed to commit to one thing for the rest of my life? And it was actually a conversation with my mom where she threw out dentistry as an option, and I just started kind of poking my nose into that world and trying to learn about it and shadow. And it was through that shadowing, actually wearing a "Trust Me, I'm a Dentist" t-shirt way before I had the right to wear that t-shirt. And a dentist at my gym, Dr. Morales, said, "You a dentist?" I was like, "No, but I'd like to be one day." So he kind of took me under his wing and taught me so much. And I'm eternally grateful to him for all the time that he spent with me, and sometimes it's not even just professional related, right? It's just it's life,
Yeah.
right? And this is someone who's not better than you, not more special than you. They've been where you are.
Yeah.
Right.
Experience.
So that was always kind of my North Star when it comes to being the mentor. And for me personally, I've always enjoyed teaching and education and just uh, helping the younger generation, right, get to where they want to be.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to hire an assistant early on in my career who wanted to be a dentist,
Yeah.
Dr. Tart. She is now my associate. So she started off as my assistant. We worked together for a few years. She went to my alma mater, University of Florida. Go Gators. And, now we share an office, which is by far the coolest accomplishment of my professional career. And we've had so many assistants come through the practice that have gone on to dental school. And, I think our current count is 6, maybe
Wow.
7.
Wow.
Many of them move away, right? Dr. Tart is very special. Like, we get to, like I said, share an office now. But, they've gone to dental school and set up shop and set up their lives all over the country. And that's just such a rewarding thing to have been a part of.
Oh, sorry, it just froze there for a minute. There you are. You're back. So how did I mean, how do you identify somebody that has kind of the drive, the talent, and potential early on to with that success story with Dr. Tart? Like, what did you see in them?
I don't know. To be perfectly honest with you, I wish there was like this tidy little rubric, right, that you can
Yeah.
use to identify that talent. It's just like certain people, you meet them and you just sort of get that sense that this person's going somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I'd love to hitch along for the ride and help in any way that I can. Um, just like Dr. Tart, future Dr. Fitzgerald Connor was also my assistant. He's graduating in June, and he's also going to join the
Wow.
practice. So um, it's not to say that all of my assistants that wanted to go into dental school have gone through that path, right, and accomplished it. Um, I personally kind of see it as an uber win when we dissuade people
Sure.
successfully, because so one of my side businesses is a dental assisting school,
Yeah.
and it's called DMD Bound, right? And it's called DMD Bound because I have always firmly held the opinion that if you are considering dental school, you should go become a dental assistant,
Sure.
because that is a 10-week path where you can get chairside immediately, get your gloves wet, and literally test drive dentistry,
Yeah.
right? Like with an expanded functions dental assisting certification, you are able to do a whole lot of dentistry without the dentist in the room,
Right.
right? And really gain a sense if this lifelong commitment that is going to cost me many hundreds of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
is right for me.
Yeah.
We've had 4 or 5 kids that were convinced they wanted to be dentists and they had their stuff together. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are great students. They've shadowed, they've done research, like they are on track. And after actually working in dentistry for a few months, they're like, I don't think this is the right path for me.
Yeah.
And holy smokes, what a win that is, right? Like saving this person years and hundreds of thousands of dollars. I see that as an equal win. And I stay in touch with a lot of them. And some of those are the most rewarding mentor-mentee relationships.
Sure. Yeah, to see where they go from there.
Yeah.
Well, what about the kind of the patient experience? I mean, moving from dental assistant to dentist, I mean, you become a surgeon, right? And your patients it's kind of one of the most human surgeries you can do, where your patient's awake, and vulnerable, and I mean they're aware of the treatment they're getting. Their eyes are
Yeah.
open. So how does that shape the way that you approach treatment and that next step of becoming a dentist and doing surgery?
You mean with regards to the kids that go through the dental school process?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my view might be a little bit skewed on that because they've been my assistant for months or years, right? And they've sort of come up in the culture of the practice and seen how we do things firsthand. So hopefully the idea is that they're translating some of the things that we do well and adopting those, and maybe sometimes giving us a little fresh perspective as to things that we could be doing better,
Yeah.
right? Something that's super important to us in the practice is that we're under a constant state of iteration.
Sure.
All right, we have an operation manual that breaks down every single thing that we do, but nothing's written in stone.
Right.
So we're always looking for a better way of doing things, and very frequently those voices and that perspective comes from a new person,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like we bring on people onto the team who have the talent, right? Maybe not necessarily the skills yet, but they have the personality, they have the drive, they have the commitment to excellence, they have the empathy and the warmth and it's a whole thing, right? I guess I should be writing down my rubric right now. Um, but having that infusion of a new perspective is super helpful for
Yeah.
us in how we ultimately do things.
Yeah. Well, and that you just kind of pointed out what you see in I mean, like in Dr. Tate, like looking at that spark, or knowing that empathy is a big thing, like relating to the patients. And how does that reflect in kind of productivity, or like, I mean, are you booking all day every day? Or especially adding more doctors to, to be able to treat patients? Like, what does that look like?
That's the $64,000 question, right? Like, what's the right balance
Yeah. Right.
on how we schedule? We we are a very low volume office,
Yeah.
right? Like our new patient experience is 90 minutes with nearly an hour dedicated doctor time for that new
Well,
patient.
sure.
Um, like you so graciously said in the intro, we are a relationship driven practice, and honestly, that's marketed a lot. I don't know. I've never seen a practice that says, "Hey, come to us. We're going to treat you like crap."
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's just you don't really lead with that.
Yeah.
But I hear it from so many people all the time that the experience that we provide them is just it's revolutionary for them. It's just like unlike anything they've ever experienced, not only at a dental office, but any sort of doctor's office or service in general. And I once heard someone say that the greatest luxury you can afford someone is your time.
Yeah.
And we take that seriously, right? Like we don't book a whole lot of patients. I'm not seeing 20 patients a day,
Yeah.
right? Like I want to make sure that Nick feels like he's the only person in the building when I'm with him.
Yeah. Well, so if you're centered on like connection with the patients rather than volume, I mean, from a business perspective, I have to ask, like, how does that affect production and profitability?
We could make more money if we crammed more patients in,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
It's just, what does success mean to you?
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like for a lot of people, the bottom line is the ultimate measure of success, right? And obviously, we're running a business. Like the bottom line matters, right? If we were losing money, we'd just close up shop because what the heck are we doing,
Right.
right? But I like going home feeling like I may have changed someone's life today, right? Like at the very least, I changed someone's perspective of what the doctor patient relationship could or should be,
Should. Yeah.
right? And I it's super rewarding because we see it in all of our Google reviews. I call them love letters. Like if
Yeah.
anyone checks out our Google reviews, they are paragraphs of how people are just conditioned to expect one thing, and it's just completely different than what
Yeah.
they anticipated.
So is this kind of this ethos or these cultural values? Is that something that you emanate from the top down with your team?
Um, a lot of people say that the whole culture starts top down, and maybe it starts that way, but it is 100% sustained from bottom up. It is my team that is a very zealous guardian of what the patient experience is, because they like going home and feeling like they may have changed someone's life that day,
Sure.
right? So once you get a group of people that all have that same shared mentality, right? The whole culture thing just becomes, it's not something you have to even curate anymore.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
right? Like it's a group of people that like people and want to serve them. And again, like, sort of like our mission statement is literally to wow patients,
Yeah.
right? So we want to create wow moments.
Yeah. And I guess if the system's working that well, right? But you did say that there's still flexibility, even though everything's written out in operations. Where does that flexibility come in? I mean, is that efficiency in technology, or the way? I mean, yeah. How does that? How is like? Where does that come in? Where is the flexibility?
I kind of love that question because a big reason for me having become a dentist is all the toys and the tech and the gadgets, and it's just really fun. So yeah, we're definitely constantly adding new technology, and sometimes that technology is very disruptive to our systems, meaning it really kind of revolutionizes how we're able to go about things. And sometimes it's just a small little tweak, right? That either benefits the patient's experience or it benefits the team's experience, which ultimately leads to the patient's experience. Um, so yeah, I mean, from CT scanners, all sorts of intraoral scanning, oral cancer detection systems, which we're huge on. Um, and sometimes things as simple as like, what is your like system for contacting patients and staying
Sure.
in touch with them, right?
Yeah.
Like we're so savvy nowadays. I feel like maybe running a dental office 15, 20 years ago was a much simpler process than it is now.
Yeah.
Consumers know what to want and how they want to um, interact with services and businesses. And, sometimes it's little things, little new implementations that allow us to stay fresh and always you know, keep our business fresh, keep the relationship with the patients engaging and exciting and moving forward.
Yeah. And I mean, you're still like you're still accepting new patients, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, how do you get this message? Like you want to wow each patient. Like, how do you get this message out to them? Are you doing advertising? Do you have, what's front desk operations like? What's kind of the system for bringing in these new patients that haven't experienced the wow yet?
So I love that question. We do, some external marketing, generally always education based. We have a podcast, Somebody Dental Podcast, if anyone's out there interested, where we, delve into dental, yes, topics, things that are dental trending topics, and whole body health, really. Um, you know, I feel like sometimes dentistry has insulated itself from, the rest of the healthcare world. And the fact of the matter is that, the mouth is a part of the body, right? And the connections, the oral systemic link is very, very real, and it's something that we discuss a lot on the podcast. Um, but ultimately, Nick, the immense majority of our new patients come from wowed patients,
Yeah. Wow.
right? Like if
Wow.
you go and you have an experience that's unlike anything else, you're going to go home and you're going to tell your wife, honey, you will not believe these people are out of their mind, but they had my music playing when I walked in. They had a welcome screen for me and like a warm blanket. Like it's very, very different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, all the external marketing is important and it helps, but the majority of our business is again relationship driven.
Yeah. And then I guess, maybe not disrupting the systems that you have, but the flexibility in the systems, like kind of going back to toys or tech or innovation, like what's the thing you're most excited about currently that you're having to implement or include into the systems and operations?
So two things. One thing that I'm about to start using for my consultations is AI driven smile design,
Oh yeah, cool.
and it's I mean things are evolving fast, right? Like I'm able to take a picture of you and in about 4 minutes have a video of you, right, with a brand new smile where you can see how it looks from multiple angles, and it is just mind blowing stuff. So things like that are really going to take the aesthetic, the cosmetic consultation to a whole new level, because now it's not just what I see in my mind's eye as possibilities for Nick. Like Nick can see it with his own eyes,
Sure.
right? And it really comes to life.
Yeah.
Um, so that's one. I'm very excited about the AI driven smile design, but in-house printing is another big one. Material science moves fast in dentistry, and the ability to create and make very high quality restorations, things like crowns or large fillings or things like that we used to always have to send to a lab
Yeah.
and then get it back 2 weeks later. We're getting more and more possibilities to just make that chairside, right?
Yeah.
Literally print it out of resin and ceramics and give you something permanent in a single visit.
Yeah.
So that's something that's been on the market for a while in different forms, and now it's really reaching a level where it makes a lot of sense for um, for a little guy like me, right?
Yeah.
I am a very low volume office. I have 4 rooms, right? 4 private rooms where we close the door and it's just your little, your little spa cocoon for the time that you're there. Um, and there are larger offices out there that have implemented things like this in the past, but they're seeing tons and tons of patients, right?
Yeah.
So for the technology to get to the point where, from a cost point of view, it makes sense for a practice like mine, we're starting to get to that point.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm looking at now, and maybe this is the year where we start incorporating that.
Cool. So if you're incorporating new technology, like you obviously have to have a team that's able to adapt to some of that flexibility. So how do you what's your like philosophy on hiring and retaining the right people for your team that, if you want to keep innovating or using new toys, like who are you looking for?
Depends on the toy, right? Like bringing in the in-house printing, milling, things like that. We'll take at least one rock star, you know, team
Yeah.
member, generally an assistant who is good with computers and good with design, to sort of take up, the mantle when it comes to those things. I'm very blessed that I have, a team that is a team of rock stars, right? So as we incorporate new technologies, they're all in. They
Yeah.
want to learn. We do the trainings. We help each other out, and it's a community effort.
Yeah.
But it is definitely a consideration. I mean, we have a lot of business owners that listen to this podcast, and what's the old saying? Get the right people in the bus, and then put them in the right seat on the
Yeah.
bus, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to hire the right team, and then depending on their talents, right, allocate different things. But certainly bringing in new toys, it's something to consider. Like, how is this going to integrate into how we do things, and how disruptive will it be?
Yeah. Well, and especially if you have operations and systems, nailed down, well, you're leaving room for flexibility in the culture. And if you're keeping these rock stars around, I mean, um, is that kind of your definition of success now? Has it changed since you started the practice, a decade ago?
Yeah, for sure. Um, I started the practice. I think the practice just turned 14.
Wow.
So I was in my late 20s. I'm 42 now. So thankfully, my perspectives have changed a little bit
Yeah.
from my late 20s to now. But yeah, absolutely. My definition of success has changed. And where it may have been driven more by the bottom line before,
Sure.
it's those other things that matter so much more now. Longevity of team is huge, because the whole like self-sustaining culture thing requires continuity,
Yeah.
right? And if you have a revolving door of people, then it's going to be harder to maintain that culture,
Yeah.
right? So thankfully, most of my team members have been with me for many years.
Yeah.
And we live in South Florida, so people move away. People, dental assistants go to dental school, right, and
Yeah.
become dentists. So there's some turnover, but that stability is huge.
Yeah. And I guess looking back, what what piece of advice, I guess, would you give yourself or a new practice owner that's, maybe focused on the bottom line and to avoid burnout? Because that's one thing I've heard a lot from guests on the podcast is like at some point, most doctors and dentists they get burnt out because they are maybe have the wrong definition of success, or maybe it's a culture thing, or I guess there's a lot of reasons for it, and there's definitely some symptoms that are diagnosable. But what would you say to yourself starting a practice, or somebody starting a practice, to focus on to get where you are now, maybe quickly?
Um, That's a great question, man. It's so case dependent, right? Um, I think first off, really concretely defining what success means to you is important, right? But then again, that's going to evolve as your own personal life circumstances evolve. Um, for me, a big shift was when I had kids, right? That just kind of incorporates a new frame of reference for life in general. Um, I finally determined that my North Star for success, as far as my practice goes, was to make Somebody Dental the best job anyone on my team has ever had.
Yeah.
I want it to be the best place to work at, period. Because I feel like that ultimately takes care of everything downstream,
Yeah.
right? Um, so, number one piece of advice for anyone starting a new practice. Number one piece of advice for anyone in life is pick the right person to marry.
Yeah.
And I think along with that, just extrapolate that to your professional life. Surround yourself by the right people,
Yeah.
right? And then really things just maybe don't take care of themselves, but you're going to be able to take care of them with with a much better, disposition, and just you're going to feel a lot better doing it.
Yeah. I mean,
And
work life
hopefully that
balance is,
burnout is, burnout's real, because
yeah.
dentistry is a tough profession. And kind of going back to what we said earlier, if I can dissuade someone at the right time from making a
Yeah.
mistake and
Yeah.
committing to it, awesome,
Yeah.
right? And even when it is for you, I've had periods of my career where I felt burnt out,
Yeah.
right? I there's a study done where the average dentist blood pressure spikes 20 points every time they give an injection.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, let that sink in for a second, right? Like, we are doing invasive procedures like this close to the patient, right? Staring at each other's eyes. And we get it. You're scared. I'm scared that I'm going to hurt you, right? Like, that's the last thing I want to do. I want Nick to walk away feeling like, man, that guy's got magical hands. I didn't feel a thing,
Yeah.
right? And we feel that pressure, right?
Yeah.
So it's real. So having the right people, like if you have that pressure from a clinical standpoint, and then on top of that, from a team standpoint, like you're not happy, holy
Yeah.
smokes, man, just, close up shop now.
Yeah. Well, and then you're bringing it back to your, the rest of your life outside the practice.
100%.
What are some strategies you're using outside of the practice for self-care and to avoid burnout, or did you, in order to maintain a happy, work-life balance and family and all that?
Yeah. Again, I don't want to say anything here that makes it sound like I've got all that figured out. Like, you know, mental health is a thing that we all struggle with, and it's not constant, right? It's episodic. We go through periods of it where we feel a little more down. It's like, man, how much longer can I do this? And then we get past that and we fall in love again with the profession, and we keep going, right? But to me, working out has always been the great leveler, right? At whatever stage I was at, whether it was college, grad school, my professional career, um, you know, argument with my wife, I go for a run and it just gives you perspective, right? It just puts you
Yeah.
in a different frame of mind. It allows me to think, like, kind of step outside of my box and think about things in a different way.
Yeah.
So I've always, I try to start every day with a run so I can, go get into the day with a positive frame of mind, and all those endorphins rushing in.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, trying to stay active, trying to stay healthy, making good decisions. Because ultimately, too, if we don't feel great, we have a tough time dealing with things when they go sideways, right? So, the better we feel, both physically, mentally, spiritually, the better equipped we are to deal with things.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you kind of said you don't have it figured out, but you have a lot figured out. I mean, the mentorship and the culture, and I mean, the practice is successful in your eyes. You're wowing patients. So where do you think it's headed? Like, what does it look like in 5 years? I mean, you got a 3D printer. Work-life balance is hopefully still good because you're taking, good care of the practice and yourself. So sky's the limit. Like where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a great question. The answer to that evolves sometimes day to day with new ideas and things like that. But like I mentioned earlier, I'm super excited for Connor, for future Dr. Fitzgerald to join the team next year. That'll happen in June. Um, so at that point, we may be, looking at purchasing a second practice, maybe just relocating, expanding, things like that. So, it really is about, I also want to get into teaching. I really, really enjoy teaching. So, we actually have a dental school kind of right down the street from the practice. So, very excited about potentially getting my feet wet in academia. Um, but we'll see. And obviously always, keeping dentistry a part of my life because I love what I do.
Yeah. And you're sharing some of that as an interviewer on the interviewer side on your own podcast. How does it feel being on the other side of it? Like what have you learned from interviewing your peers and colleagues?
Um, it's fun being on the other side. To me, what's great about podcasts is that I just like connecting with people and just having a conversation.
Yeah.
So I don't really see it as like interviewer, interviewee, right? It's just let's have a chat, right? Let's talk about something interesting and have a good time, and
Yeah.
hopefully it registers with someone out there.
Yeah. Well, why don't you plug your podcast and your practice so people can find you?
Yeah, sure. So, like I said before, the podcast is the Semide Dental Podcast. You can find us on any and all platforms. So check that out. Subscribe if you like it, and even if you don't, throw me a bone. And the practices, Semide Dental, we are located in Davie, which is our little cowboy town just outside of Fort Lauderdale in South Florida. And we've been there since 2011, so it's been about 14 years and hope to make it at least another 14.
Amazing. Alex, it's been great having you on. I really appreciate you sharing your experience and expertise and vision with your practice and your life.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it, Nick. And continued success, man. You're doing wonderful things.
Thanks. Well, until next time.
I like that.